Hey, we should be live. Sorry about the delay. 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. I half ran. I'm gonna open up on YouTube just to make sure we're all good. Good. Okay. Yeah. So basically, we came upon a stray, not a stray dog, a dog with a collar that was walking around the street. Basically trying to get run over, as dogs do when they're left alone. There we go. And posted on Facebook to find the owner. There, come on, focus, focus. Found the owner. They were in the park, and he was like away from them. Come on, are you gonna focus? This is gonna drive me crazy. Come on. Oh man, this is so annoying. So in any case, it's gonna be a technical masterpiece today. There we go. Okay, good. Good. So thank you. Hey Joshua. Hey Ekaterina. Hey Lydia. Hey Pat. Hey John. Hey Kuntal. Hey Nancy. Hey Hank. Oh, you got me live finally. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I was supposed to be off location. I'm not. My apologies for that. Here's the story. I'm gonna drink some water. I was supposed to visit a friend and stream from there, just to be more efficient because it's going to be rush hour soon, and I wanted to go there before, but turns out he won't be there in time. So I ended up starting the live from here. It was going to be just me and my Mac, which is why we're doing this with StreamYard, which means I can showcase your lovely comments. Hey, Shelly, good morning to you too, as easily as I can now. But in any case, so no special occasion, no guest appearance of my friends, but that's okay. Definitely false advertising. Sorry, hippopotamus. Hey, Muskan, how are you? Steve, how are you doing? The Healing Colors, hello from Kashmir. Oh, cool. I love that. Kashmir has to be one of the places with the most beautiful name. Kuntal, hey, Lori, hey. So I hope everyone's doing well. I planned for this one to be kind of a intimate, chill live stream where we can really talk, and I can look at the chat and go over everything you ask and everything, and we can talk about whatever. If you want to, and hey, I'm your new subscriber. I love your paintings. Thank you so much. Hey, Gauri Shankar. Hey, Fancy. I'm not sure. Do you agree about the? Okay, about the false advertising, maybe. First live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. So we can do whatever. If you want me to react to a painting video, you can send it over. We haven't done that in a while. A lot of people want their paintings critiqued. I have not forgotten at all. I just didn't think it's going to happen this week because of the setup, so I didn't get prepared for it. Next week, as long as there isn't anything in the calendar, I think we should be able to do a critiques live stream. Yeah, so I'm going to also write it down so that I remember. Critiques. So that's going to be next week. Keep sending them over. If you send them, I've seen them, and I'll hopefully include them. Okay, and if I ever miss your painting, just send it over again, and I'll do it. Lollipop. When are you going to do every day about color theory wheel? A video, I guess, not every day, about color theory wheel. Oh, I don't have much to say about it. Basically, opposites are complementary, and I don't have much to say about the color wheel theory. Actually, I never dove deep enough on it. I'm seeing the world very, very monochromatically, so I always see a main color, and then I dirty it with my other colors, and it's a question of how much of that color is dominant. So it's not something I actually am good enough at or am interested enough, but maybe if you have a specific question about that, and yes, I do play a bit of guitar badly. If you have a specific question about color theory, ask away, and I can do a video on that, maybe, if it's something I'm familiar with. Marco, hi from Serbia. Thank you for being here. Must Paint, I am from India. I don't know where you're from. I'm from Israel. Fancy, I don't know what it is, so I cannot agree. But if it's something I agree with, then I agree with it. If it's something I disagree with, I'll disagree with it. I think that's how it's going to work. Da Vinci Paint 50% off sale. Dick Blix. Check it out. Where's my sponsorship? Good morning from Chicago. Good morning to you too, Candy. What is a different way to talk to you? Just here. This is the best. This is the best way, honestly. You can send a message on Instagram, send an email, whatever. This is actually the best place because I can actually read everything. Deborah, I just love watching your critiques. They're so helpful. Yeah, we'll get to that. They're very tiring, actually. Like mentally, I have to focus a lot. So I try not to do too many of these so I don't burn out, basically. Hi, Hillel. Good afternoon to you too. Here it's afternoon, everyone. It's 4 p.m. So yeah, I do play the guitar badly. Maybe I can do a few chords later because that's the extent of my knowledge is basically chords. And some very niche stuff. Maybe electric guitar. I'll do a little better with Metallica and power chords. Power chords are easier for me. Hey, Morag. Hello from Newcastle upon Tyne, UK. Morag is, by the way, also a name in Hebrew. Pretty not a super common one, but pretty common. Thank you so much, Katerina. Hello, Lisa from Idaho. Let's see if I missed anything interesting up there, and then we'll go back to the bottom of the chat. Hey again, Hank. Hope you're doing well. Hi from Florida. Hot Road. Good morning from Virginia. Okay, good. Good. Let's go to the bottom here. Kuntal, I'm new here. How can I send you some of my paintings? So I'm going to put my email address, and you can send them over here. And 1 second. And also make sure to send the reference photos as well. That helps. Just send them over here. And I should be able to see them. Try and send the reference photos as well. And also, if you can, as a favor, try not to send super heavy files. I mean, I'm good. I have space in the inbox, but don't send me 30 mega, etc. So just saying, 30 mega is a lot. That's like almost could be 30 paintings easily. So don't do that. Or 30 pictures, 15 paintings, if you can. If you send tons of them, just make the files a little smaller, if possible. But yeah, okay, we'll skip the agreeing stuff. Hey, Cubs, thank you so much for being here. Hey, girls and boys. Hey, GT, I hope you're doing well. Nicola, hi. I will be traveling to Egypt soon, and the landscape is extremely different from what I'm used to. Do you have any favorite colors for painting similar landscapes? You know what's cool? I would say if you're going to paint in a place where you're not used to the colors, that's actually a great opportunity to let loose when you're in an unfamiliar environment. Let your senses and intuition take over. So I would not dare recommend to you anything in advance, but I would encourage you to go there and experience it fully. And I think whatever comes out of that natural, intuitive exploration will be the best result for you. Of course, you're going to run into a lot of yellows and a lot of oranges with the desert and the stones and all of that. But of course, there are a lot of cities and a lot of greenery as well. So I'm pretty much using the same colors, but there is something special to seeing a subject matter that's a little foreign to you. There is something very unique about that, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you go to it almost blindly, it's almost like I recently got back to playing a bit of video games. It's almost like going into a video game completely blind, not knowing what it's about. I think it's more fun. Same with movies. You know, I'd much rather very often if I go to a movie once in a blue moon. We don't go to many movies, but when we do, I'd much rather not know anything about it if I can. Just be completely surprised. Pauline, hi from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Ashok, for being here as well. What is the time there? Right now it is 4:23 p.m. Goofy, so we just vibed today, can't we? Yeah, definitely. We can talk about tons of off-topic. I actually have an interesting teaser for you. So right over there on my art table, I have all 12 pages of my manga done, complete pencil. I finished inking more than half, probably 2/3, which means about 8 are done. I maybe have 4 more to ink. You can read it if you want to. It's there, it's ready. It's a comic book, a manga comic book, pretty much the same. The style is a little towards the manga in terms of the visual style, black and white. I'm gonna be adding screen tones, which is gonna be really cool. So yeah, and I'm gonna publish it for free on Webtoons or Webtoon. I never remember what it's called. I actually have it open here. I think it's Webtoon. Oh no, I don't have it open. Never mind. But yeah, I'm gonna post the link and everything once it's complete. But just know that all 12 pages are drawn, finished, and I don't do dialogues for everything, so you can essentially know the whole story. But I won't show it to you. But it's there. It's right over there. Maybe I'll show you a paper, one page. I've shown a few. Maybe I'll show another one today. Amy, using fluorescent colors for the first time, and it's freaking me out. Ever used them? Any advice? I can't only think using muted colors as well to balance the piece. It's for northern light painting. Yeah. So one thing that I personally have trouble with, Amy, and maybe it'll help you, when I force the use of a specific color to a designated purpose, it doesn't always work out the way I want it to. So what I would rather do is explore the color, which is great. Like, I love fluorescent and weird colors like that. Anything shiny that looks cool. I like to find its purpose by just using the color. Right now, it doesn't mean you can't paint northern lights with fluorescent colors. I don't know enough about what color it is, and even if I known what color it is, I haven't used a lot of them. I only used a handful of fluorescent, iridescent colors. So what I would say is it just comes down to the experimentation and experience. You'll have to just give it a try and see if it works. But I would be very wary of forcing a specific use onto a specific color, as opposed to using the color, discovering what it's good at. By the way, I hope the camera quality is a little better. This one can do 4K, though this isn't 4K, but it can do, so it's a better quality, basically. Hey, Sujani, how are you? Did you ever try gouache? What's your opinion if you had used it? Fortunately, not really. I haven't ever used gouache except for designer's gouache, which I use for my white highlights. I have nothing against it. I just haven't tried it yet, so I can't form an opinion, unfortunately. But it looks cool from what I've seen. James Gurney, mainly. It looks really interesting. It looks like an interesting medium. I see a lot of gouache work that I don't like as an end result. But that has more to do with the artist's style rather than the gouache itself. I don't know. I can't read that, so sorry. Steve, for painting in Egypt, could try the desert super granular from Schminky, although Liron's answer is pretty good. Yeah, you can try. That's exactly what you should be doing. You should be trying. That's the thing. Hippopotamus, I'm tired of painting green all year long in Florida. Yeah, just get a few pictures of snowy mountains and paint away. By the way, I love the thumbnail. I love the 64-bit style, or pixelated style. It always reminds me of the old kind of platforms, old consoles, game consoles. I love that. Cubs win. My drawings sometimes look very elementary, and once in a while I see flashes of good. Have your drawings always been good and only got better, or did you have the elementary? No, definitely. I had the elementary stage. I've shown some drawings when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. It wasn't good. It was off in many ways. I think what a lot of people miss is the drawing correctly part. Because when you draw correctly, I'm going to get into more of what that means, but just a perspective to give you. When you draw correctly, it's going to look good. Even when you paint fewer details, it's going to look correct. It's going to look solid. It's going to look believable. And that doesn't have necessarily anything to do with a design sense or a sense of creativity or any vague kind of term like that. It's more about understanding. So understanding that this is a cylinder, this is a box, whatever. So the one thing that really helped me get to what I feel like was beyond elementary is to start thinking in terms of the fundamentals. How surprising it is that going to the basics something I should have done more than a decade ago, was the solution. It's almost always like that. The fundamentals are what carries you through. So when we talk about fundamentals, what I mean by that is gesture and structure mostly. Gesture, structure, values, shape, pretty much that's it. If you take the initiative to explore these more in depth, it will take you way beyond the elementary stage. It's so funny how that works. I'm now experiencing it in jiu-jitsu. I mean, I don't know anything. I don't know enough to say what I don't know. That's how beginner I am. But I do notice the learning curve and how it goes, and it's all in the fundamentals. I definitely went through it. I'm not special. Trust me. I may have like a unique, special mix of different skills. For example, I like to communicate and teach, and I like to edit, make videos, film videos, talk, edit, and I also love art and painting and drawing. But if you just isolate the drawing and painting part, I'm not special at all. There are a lot of people who are far beyond my level of expertise and the ability to draw from imagination and to make things look not just elementary, but very intricate, very complex, and very correct as well. I'm actually not that special in that regard. You can get there 100%. Sorry. Hope that gives you some encouragement, Cubs. Ishtar, may I suggest running a weekly competition of best watercolor painting for your followers? Just a thought. I will do something like this occasionally. I'm just not built for that, unfortunately. I'm more of like, here's a bunch of stuff. You do it with it what you want, and then I sometimes like to share paintings of people I follow that are my subscribers as well. But doing something like this formally, it's not my strength, and it's not where my interest is usually. So sorry about that. That's not a good answer. Hey, Robin, how are you? Hey, Pat, have you ever? And Pat, sorry, I've seen all of it. What was it? A different live stream where I believe I've seen a few comments, and I missed them, unfortunately, because I was caught up. So sorry about that. Have you ever attempted to use a wax medium or use watercolor varnish on your watercolors? Thoughts? I actually have varnish there on the table waiting for me to experiment with it. I've tried it before, and I don't know what it was. It didn't work as well. But I was just a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I'm going to give it another go. Then I got wrapped up in the comic, and I didn't have enough of attention to actually test it out. But I will soon, hopefully, and then I'll let you know. As for wax medium, no. Is that when you seal them using wax? Never tried it. It looks cool. Looks like something that should work. But yeah. Nicole, thanks, Liron. I'm so looking forward to experiencing Egypt. I'll definitely check out Steve Mills' Schminker recommendation. Yeah, you can go for something granular to get the texture very easily. Whatever it is, play around with it, enjoy it. I have a friend who visited Egypt not too long ago. Liked it a lot. Katerina, just for some help. When you clean your oil paint brushes, they don't become completely clean without color. So yeah, I barely ever, I didn't use oils so far. I haven't gotten to use them, but I did use acrylics, and it was the same thing. So I cleaned them thoroughly, but some colors still stayed on the brush. The brush was clean, 100% clean. If actual color is stuck, at least with acrylics, it kind of ruins the brush, which I wasn't used to it because I'm used to watercolor. Just dip it into water and you're good to go. But with acrylics, it kind of ruins it. But I noticed that even if you get all the paint off the brush, it still will get tinted. The hairs will get the color of the paint. They won't stay orange or white or whatever forever. So maybe it's inevitable. I'm not sure about oils, though. I'm not sure. Thank you, Hot Road. Yep, it's a little better quality. Once I actually stream in 4K, you'll be able to see all of the weird details around me, hopefully more. I don't know if I want that. That's weird. I don't think every video should be in 4K, 8K, whatever. But yeah. Deborah, try painting some snow scenes. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my thoughts, Snow is like the reverse of green, in my opinion, in a way. Desert is a good one, too. Hello from Saloniki. Saloniki, the island, right? So you call it Salonik. We say here in Hebrew, Saloniki. So yeah. The Anchor, hello. Must paint. I love colors, but I'm not good at it. I'm good at shading, but I want to color in my art world. What to do? It's funny. So the the answer to it is always the fundamentals. If you really are interested in color, I would just, you can go online and watch tons of videos, and you can learn a lot about color theory. There are many videos on the topic, and you'll learn how to do this, how to do that, how to mix this color, how to use colors. Anything you want, there's an answer for. But ultimately, the best thing I can recommend, that's how I started with watercolor, is by playing around with the colors I do have and understanding them better. So the general, very fundamental idea is that you have three colors you can mix everything from, which is blue, yellow, and red, right? We won't get into any nuance, but grab a few of these, a red, a blue, and a yellow, see what you can mix out of them, okay? And start small. Start with a small selection of paints. Don't go and get a 24 color set or anything like that. Just a few tubes. Play around with them. See what the colors can do. You don't really need a tutorial for that. I think if you really love colors and you want to give them a try, you'll just give them a try. So grab a piece of paper, play around with them, see what happens. To me, that's how you begin to improve. Because when you just watch a lot of tutorials, there's this thing where I get into this habit all the time where watching videos is almost a replacement to trying things out. And you feel like the more you see it done in the video, you'll be able to do it. When in reality, you don't really fully understand what you're watching unless you tried it out yourself. So what happens is the more you experiment, the quality of your learning from a resource, whether it's a video or a book, will improve. And that's something very important that I think is not talked enough about. You build reference experience from doing a lot. Then the content you watch actually means something. Again, I'm experiencing right now the same thing with jujitsu. And I can get in the loop of watching even short videos of different techniques and different moves. But once I actually did the move and tried it out, then I can relate to what's explained in the video much better. So the corrections and the little fixes they give for the technique make sense to me. Because before I didn't even do it, I don't know what to relate it to. So that's what I would say where learning begins, is with pure curiosity. You want to try it out, playing around with colors, so you just go for it. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Cubs, when is car book being printed and ready to buy? Oh, there's a huge delay. So I got the copies finally. It was a complete disaster with the Amazon. They don't ship here author copies anymore, so I had to do a weird workaround. Thank you to Christina, who I could send the books to, and she sent them over to me. The post office here, the local post office, was a nightmare, and it took them ages to deliver it. And by the time I got them, I really disliked the way it looks. So what I will do is a complete overhaul of the design. I'll redesign the whole thing anew. Then I'll have to get another author test copy, draft copy, look at that, and then. So it's going to be a big delay, unfortunately. It's going to be a big delay. By the time it's out, I don't know when it's going to be. I can probably guarantee it's going to be this year. That's an easy guarantee. Hopefully this first half of the year. Can't commit to a quarter even, unfortunately. Though I would have loved to do that. But thank you so much for asking, and thank you for the interest. I will, once it's going to be close to publishing, I will definitely let you know. Lisa, comes from also perspective is good to explore. Yep, indeed. Perspective comes together to me with structure in many ways. Steve, color tip for must paint. Try doing a painting with one red, one yellow. Oh, that's exactly. It's interesting. We pretty much have the same ideas in mind. Everything will hang together that way, and over time we'll get a better understanding of the colors. Yep. And one cool thing you can try, and you can see some of Stan Miller's tutorials about that. He just paints with the colors as they are. Just leaves the yellow, leaves the blue. Almost like he asks himself, what is this color closest to? So like this thing here, this thing, right? So I would say it's the closest to blue. It's a green, right? But it looks pretty blue. So he just uses blue, right? And that's an interesting way to do this. So when you look at the face, what is this? Maybe a red. What is this? Maybe a yellow. What is this? A blue. So he'll just use the colors cleanly. And that's a great way of practicing, at least recognizing a bit of the dominant color. right? But again, it all starts with curiosity and actually giving it a try. Joshua Saunders, are you related to Saunders Waterford? Because I love the paper. When painting, I'm kidding. When painting landscapes, do you paint what's in the distance first, or paint what's in front of you? I don't have a set process for that. The one limitation that sometimes I'll adhere to is top to bottom. So I'll paint from top to bottom because watercolor flows down. But even that, I won't go by dogmatically. So no answer, no conclusive way of doing it. It really depends on what I feel like at the moment. It's impossible to explain in a way. Sometimes it'll be the thing that interests me the most. I'll start with that. Sometimes I like to do a build up, so I'll paint everything in the background and leave the thing that's the focal point to last, whether it's a focal point really in the foreground or in the middle ground or even in the background. So it really depends on my mood. It's funny how sometimes you want to almost make yourself more excited about the process by leaving the best for last. So it's an interesting approach. I'll do whatever I feel like in the moment, and I feel like that's the best. That's the best thing for you to cultivate, finding out what you want to do. It's very hard to give a step by step in a way that will be very useful, aside from the very basic techniques, right? That's useful step by step. Sheldon, enjoying your videos. Thank you so much. What's watercolor? Watercolor? Yeah, it exists. Yeah, it exists. I still haven't found a good way to use it, but it exists and it should work. I want you to see my first watercolor painting that I'm proud of. Yeah, we'll be happy to. And mention that you're must paint and everything. Dorland's wax varnish for watercolor. Interesting. Hey, Rodri, how are you? It's been a while, right? I think. Miss I use. Oh, okay. Dorland's wax medium. So some people seem to use it. Quite a few, actually. If you're afraid to use it, try it on art card. Yeah, that's the thing. People shouldn't be scared of doing that kind of a thing. You have tons of scripts. I have here a few scripts. I would just use it on something like that. I cut out from a different piece of paper or whatever, and it's here to be used as test paper. Let's see. My English is nursery level. English is third language. Yeah. What are the first two? I'm curious. Let me know. Ekaterina, you got it. Hey, Saint Inky. Hope you're doing well. I'm happy you're here, even though I insulted Blade Runner last time. Much appreciated. I had to bring it up. I had to. Quintal, what exercises should improve value? I suck at value control. I have a few, actually. And by the way, I love your profile pic. That's really the kind of quality I try to go for with my manga. I would say the value scale is very basic. If you go to the channel, you can search channels, right? Because they keep changing features on YouTube. I think you should be able to search channels, but if you don't, just search Liron, watercolor, and then values or value. I think the very basic thing to try is a value scale. Just go from light to dark, and then make it interesting. Go from dark to light. So you're basically filling in squares, and every time you're gradually going darker, and then you're gradually going lighter, and you're seeing how much you can control it. At first, like 5 is good. Do just black, slightly lighter, slightly lighter, slightly lighter, paper white, right? The more you improve, the smaller the increments and accuracy can get. So you can get 10 increments, right? 10%. So everything is, you have 10 cells value scale, and you go by increments of 10% darker, 10% darker, which is a good exercise to do. But once you have the basic technique, my advice to you would be to just, when you're observing the reference photo, try and see the shapes, the shapes as just clear values, shapes of value. Use black and white photos. Don't use color. Use black and white, paint black and white in the beginning. It's very helpful. It's just objectively easier for most people. Maybe some are exception. I'm trying not to set any rules for you or me, but maybe some people have it easier in color. For most people, it's easier to recognize values in black and white. So you paint black and white. Now, when people say they suck at value control, sometimes they're too scared to go dark enough. That's what I see a lot. They show me the painting, and I'm like, yeah, it's just too light. You never darkened everything that needs to be darker. That may be you. I don't know. If you send a specific painting in, I can definitely tell you. But yeah, it's mostly that, and most people just don't go dark enough. And sometimes it's hard to mix a dark value. I actually have a few good videos on that, how to mix a dark value in watercolor. You'll find them. I don't want to go into technique here, but you'll find it. There are many ways to improve your ability to paint darker values. Some have to do with materials, the supplies that you have, and the paints you use, but mostly it's you. It's the technique. I hope that helps. Okay, the email, Hillel, it's this one. I'm going to put it on the screen. It's basically Liron, Liron, at Lironyan, LIRONYAN.com. Hope you'll be able to send it over. Papatomos limited color palette is life-changing. Yes, I love these emojis too. I use them a lot. I use them in one of my videos. Yeah, definitely monotone. I'm on my way to color. Yeah. And if you're excited, that's great. Take that excitement and do it. That's the thing. You want to, when you're getting started, especially, everything you do is a learning experience. It really is. I remember, and I mentioned this in the interview and conversation with Janine Galizia. When I just got started painting, every painting was a huge learning experience. It's almost as if you're a baby. And when you're a baby and you're a week old, a day is like a seventh of your life. Ruth came here to visit. Let's bug her a little. I love annoying Ruth. But yeah, when you're a baby, one day out of a week, if you're a week old, you're basically, that's all. Let me check the audio. It sounds weird. 1 second. Okay, we're good. So yeah, so every painting is much more significant when you get started. So go with that. Go with that energy. Once you painted 1,000 paintings, it's incremental growth usually. Though I will say there are some breakthrough paintings where you're instantly better. That can happen as well. And before you ask, before anyone asks, I'm not that other Steve Mills artist with hyper-realistic still life paintings of newspapers, playing contests, etc. I am not familiar with that, Steve. So let me just look it up. 1 second. Artist. Okay. Maybe I was familiar with them. I'm not sure, but that looks good. That's really beautiful. That's cool. I wasn't familiar with that artist. Let's see here. So Pito, how do you manage paper wrinkling? Yeah, so a couple of things. Sometimes it will be the paper's fault. So if you're using a more cheaper, like Cotman, Winsor Newton Cotman paper, or even though Cotman is not the worst at wrinkling and creasing and bending and curving, but sometimes it's the paper's fault. Sometimes it's just a part of painting. So most of my paintings, I would say, everything. Most of my paintings, when I paint them, the paper curves a little, and that's okay. It becomes wavy. Once you let it fully dry, like 100% dry, not 90%, 100% dry, it tends to flatten. For larger pieces of paper, if you're painting really large, sometimes it'll stay a little curved. I'm actually fine with that. One thing you can do is use a hair dryer to just heat it. That can help it stretch back. The real answer is to stretch the paper. Just soak it fully in water, put it on is it a glassy surface, I think? But I found that wooden surfaces work well as well. And that way it will expand, so it won't wrinkle, it won't buckle. But very often it's just a reality of watercolor. So if you paint big, you'll get these curves, and then you just use a hair dryer, it will flatten. I've painted second and third layers on curved paper, and it is fine. think about it this way: the end result of a watercolor painting is something that's framed behind glass for the most part. So even if it bended, it's okay because the glass is gonna tighten it and then it will look flat, right? So I wouldn't worry about that in terms of the end result. If it irritates you during the process, you can either use thicker paper. So 300 grams is what I usually use. But if you use 600, it's much less likely to buckle. I don't find it necessary. Actually, I'm using just 300. Tape it all around. That's very important as well. I paint sometimes with the paper not taped. I'll do that very often, actually. But then I don't expect it to stay flat. And that's okay, especially for smaller pieces of paper when I just want the quick maneuverability, flipping it, moving it, rotating it around. I'm actually fine with it buckling, and I paint over buckled paper and wrinkled paper. But if you say wrinkling, like actually small wrinkles, it's probably the paper. So if I were to paint watercolor on something like that I have here, like a printer, like a thin printer paper, it'll get tons of wrinkles and it's basically unusable for watercolor. If you're using 100% cotton, acid-free, 300-gram paper, it should be okay. My favorite is Saunders Waterford. Other favorites are Arches, Fabriano is good, and Baohong. All of these, if you go for the Baohong, go for the artist grade, not the student grade, and you should be good. Just checking in because I'm meeting friends later. I'll have a long drive there in rush hour, which I planned on not doing, but whatever. Liron, absorbing all the good comments and responses. Thanks. I was like, LR, what is that? Okay, that's my name. Liron, how often do you paint? With a good average week, 3 times a week for a couple of hours each. These last couple of weeks, barely any at all. I barely painted at all because I was working on the comic, on my manga. So I drew and I'm inking and I planned and I wrote and all of that. That was wholly consuming. As soon as I'm done with that and it's out and I can't wait for it to be out and just to publish it, to get it published, as soon as this is out, I'll go back to my routine and you'll also see a lot more videos and like proper long videos. So if you're asking like how long should I paint, there isn't really an answer. There's quality practice, there's quantity practice. There are a lot of ways of practicing. And so I can't really say one way is better than the other necessarily, or as a minimum number of times a week is required. But I do think if you're just in the beginning stages of learning the techniques, if you can get in 3 sessions, not even long, an hour would be good. 3 sessions of an hour will help you learn the techniques, just the mechanics, water, paint, how they interact. Wet on wet, wet on dry, getting an even wash, different brush techniques, just the way you use the brush, and developing your own techniques. That's really important, something I never even talked about before, I think. So I would say that's my answer, like if you're wondering how much you should be painting. Later on, when you're proficient with the techniques, it's really a matter of, whatever you want, the inspiration you're after. I can see someone working for a month on a painting and painting like once or twice a week, and it ends up being like a realistic detailed paint. I can see that happening. So there is no real rule about that. I'm very hesitant, to give rules and guidelines. Must paint. I'm Indian. First is Hindi. Second is Haryanavi. I'll Google it because I'm not familiar enough. And English, cool. Tanmay Sharma. Hi, sir. I love your paintings. I just want to know that as a student at 9th grade, how much should I practice watercolor? Like how many drawings in one day? Yeah, so we talked about it just now. Honestly, as much as you want. So if you feel like painting, go with that energy. Sometimes I don't feel like doing something. I just don't feel like painting, don't feel like drawing, don't feel like writing. So I just don't do it. On the other hand, if I do feel that inspiration, motivation, whatever it is, I ride that wave. I go with it. I allow it to carry me. So right now I'm super in the manga stage. So I let it take me to the to the final kind of conclusion of what I want, which is to publish this work online for anyone who wants to read. Maybe in a couple of weeks I won't have the motivation. So now when I have it, I'm striking while the iron is hot. That's how I am. There is no should. There is no, it's better to practice this many hours, that many hours. It's highly personal. And I think that if you have the drive to paint, you'll sit down and paint. And if you don't, you won't. And that's okay. You know, um, for the last couple of weeks, you can say I didn't have the drive to paint because I was very focused on something else. So I'm not judging myself. I just didn't do it. When I got started, I used to paint at least 4 or 5 times a week, 3 hours every time. Doesn't mean you should do that, right? That's what I was doing in the first 6 months to a year. As soon as you know the basic techniques, it's all about art. It's art. Like, it's hard to tell you exactly the steps, right? You'll have to kind of discover what you want and so on. Chad, please, that's C. Bezakas. Chad, please be safe and good. I'm gonna chill and sketch with you. Keep it safe and happy. Yeah, cool. That's great. If you can paint and sketch as we're talking, that's great. You know what? Good morning to you too, Zenful Painter. One thing I've been thinking about, funny enough, as it relates to sketching, I've been listening a lot to this guy, Kapil Gupta. He's a very smart guy, very interesting person. And one of the things he talked about anxiety, and he said even better than like how to trying to get over anxiety and this whole idea of how to get rid of anxiety. And he asks a better question, he said, to ask yourself is, what doesn't make me anxious? Not when do I feel the anxiety, when do I not feel the anxiety? And to me, it's so funny. I can just, at any given moment, just whip out a piece of paper and pencil and just sketch while I'm sketching and doing, just boxes and circles and random shapes and eyes. Nothing, no worry in the world. So it's just a funny thing to think about. Definitely good vibes whenever I sketch. So I'm happy that you can do it too while we are talking. Saying experimenting with color is certainly good, but honestly, learning color theory really helps from a teacher, workshop, or book. Yeah, that could be the case. I think the more you actually practice, the more you'll gain out of that teacher or book. I think there's a certain bar you can get to on your own much better. And then the teacher or the book kind of helps you orient yourself around the things that are still confusing for you. Not from a technical standpoint, even from an artistic standpoint. Yeah, paint as much as you want. Yeah. Spent a crazy amount in 300-pound watercolor paper. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. Hey, Jill, how are you? Hope everything is super well. So, Pito, after stretch the paper, do you prefer to paint the porous side or smooth side? Ooh, that's an interesting one. So I don't have a preference, funny enough. Every paper is a little different, and every paper, sometimes I'll look at both sides and I can't even tell them apart. Like, which one is this? Which one is that? So one way to actually know, is look at the watermark of the company. So if you are using something like Saunders Waterford, it'll have a Saunders Waterford like stamped on the paper. So if you can read it, or if it's mirrored, that's one way of knowing. But honestly, I love both. I'll use both. They're both fun, both types of textures. I know what you mean. It's funny, sometimes I can't tell them apart, and I'll still look at them and I'll be like, do I want this one or that one? This one? No, I'll go with that one. Like, there's no logic to it. Yeah. Hey, Sunil, how are you doing? Hope everything is well with you, my friend. Laura, how are you? Thank you for being here. Steve, yes, watercolor is definitely about being in the mood. The great days are the ones where you finish one painting and want to do the second the same day, rather than flopping out on the sofa to recover. That's interesting. Yeah, I've had these feelings too. Though I have to admit, sometimes I do want to flop out, as you say, and just relax, I'm super tired by painting, but it's still a painting I completed and I'm happy with. But in the beginning, yeah, there are these moments where you're like, okay, I'm done. I just gotta rest now. Gotta mark the checkbox. Okay, I did it. I painted. And kind of run away from it, which I did a lot actually in the past. It's funny. Marjorie, thank you for being here. My thoughts of how often to do artwork, whatever it is, as often as possible. Life is short. Yeah, definitely. That's one way of looking at it. I do think life is short. Yeah, so you wanna, when you can and when you want, you should probably give it a try. How to join a workshop? I don't have a workshop right now, but someone else who has one can say, "Hey, join my workshop." Kapil Gupta, yeah, that's the guy. Indeed, Dr. Kapil Gupta. There's another Kapil Gupta with a TED Talk. I'm not talking about him. The Kapil Gupta I'm talking about is actually quite depressing for most people, so I wouldn't recommend listening to him. But I like his stuff. Andres D, hi Liron. Hey, how are you? I love the Cookie Monster profile pic. That's funny. I don't know why it doesn't show the emojis properly, but yeah, I can guess. Andres, you talked in earlier videos about working with mixed media. Have you ever tried working with oils on top of watercolor on watercolor paper? Not really. What I have tried, which is the closest to it, was acrylics over watercolor paper, and that actually works. I think Ruth just did a. You know how dogs do that occasionally. So no, I have not, but I have tried acrylics on watercolor paper, and it worked really well. I would assume oils should work too, but if anyone can verify, I never tried it. If I'm not mistaken, oils can be painted on just about anything, right? Because you can paint on wood or wooden surfaces, you can paint on paper, on canvas. I think you need to prime it, probably. But yeah, other than that, I think you're good. I haven't. You know what? I would encourage you to try if you have oils, because it's funny. Sometimes these ideas we get are like, what would happen if I try this on that? And we test it out, and it's like brilliant. It's the best idea we came up with recently. So go for it and let me know. I'm curious. I think it should be good. Sunil, how to do color swatching? Tips and suggestions, please, bro. How to understand behavior qualities of colors? Yeah. So the thing is, to me, it's about knowing your own colors, right? So what I would do is start with a very limited pool of colors. So I'll have the blue, the red, and the yellow. Maybe like 2 kinds of each. And so some people do these charts, swatching charts, and you can find plenty of videos on how to do them. So you have all the way from blue to whatever, yellow, and then from blue to yellow again. And you basically mix each and every possible combination. Blue with this blue, blue with this red, blue with this red, blue with this yellow, blue with the other yellow, blue with the orange, blue with this, blue with that. And then you move on to the next one, which is a red, red with blue, red with red, red with other red, and so on. So you fill in a chart. There are a lot of videos on that. Again, so I won't go into the specifics. The main idea is you do it for your colors and do it as much as you can, and have a sketchbook, even just like the sketchbooks that I like to use. So if it's a good decent paper, even if it's pulp paper, not cotton, and it's just good enough to do swatches, use a sketchbook like the Canson Monval, for example. That's a good paper. So I have a few sketchbooks of that, and just test them out, different combinations, but start small, just 5-6 colors, that's it, and see all the combinations you can produce with them. What's the most saturated color you can produce? Is it combining the yellow and the red? Is it combining the yellow and the blue? What are they capable of doing, right? Do some of them granulate together? The only way to really know it is to test it out for your supplies, for your colors. So you start small and you test them out under different circumstances. Did you know that if you pre-wet the paper and you come back with paint and do wet in wet, did you know that different colors will have a different spreading pattern in the water? If you don't test it out, you won't know, but different colors produce different effects, different veins that reach out between the paper's creases, or not creases, but rather the tangling of the paper. That's how it works. Funny enough, the weight of the pigments. A lot of things are are taken into consideration, not really taken into, you need to take all of these things into consideration. It's influencing how the color spreads. Some colors spread with very like veiny way, others just evenly spread out. So just another example, right? So that's pretty much the only way to just test it out. Don't do final paintings. Don't do finished paintings. Just test it out. Test it out. Do like an hour session of just putting paint on paper, trying it wet and dry, different combinations. Come back with water over paint. Come back with water over dry paint. See what happens. That's the best way. And do it for your own color supplies. That's what I think. Hippopotamus, that is indeed a TED Talk. I paint black areas of watercolor painting with black acrylics. It's a mystery. Yeah, it's a good one. It's actually a good one. No trouble mixing it. Actually, I should try it out. That's a sneaky trick. I like that. Connie, I've watched people use alcohol inks, and I want to try also. Go for it. Go with the wave, wherever it takes you. Watercolor is see-through, so it's best to paint not black. I mean, dark areas with acrylics. Yeah, you know, it's so interesting. That's actually a really good. Like, I actually learned something just now. It's actually a great idea. I'm gonna try it out. I don't think I ever replaced the purest darkest blacks for acrylics ever. Even when I did this large painting of Elon Musk that a lot of people hated, I used like 20 layers of watercolor. Should have just used black acrylics. That's a good idea. I learned something today. Next time I'll remember it. Pat, the paintings I sent you for critique were done using reference photos from Pinterest. If you critique online next week, is it possible that we would violate some sort of copyright law? I don't think so, honestly, because you're not selling the painting. I'm not monetizing the live streams that are, so I'm being very deliberate with how I monetize the video. So whenever I don't know if you noticed, but whenever I'm doing a painting masters episode, first of all, I don't put ads on most of my videos, but definitely not on painting masters episodes, because I don't want to monetize other people's art, even though it's fair use. It is fair use because it's for the purpose of review. I'm not replacing the painting in any way as a product, right? That's one of the different characteristics of fair use. It's a different product. I'm doing a video. The painting is a painting. There's a lot of nuances there, but I'm very deliberate with what I monetize and how I monetize it. But more importantly than ads, I don't promote my courses on Painting Masters episode. I don't go and check out my courses. I do that out of respect to the artists I showcase, but it just doesn't feel right in any case, you know. So I'm not monetizing it. I'm not going to be ads on it. You know, I don't make money directly from it. And you didn't sell the painting to me that was painted based on a copyrighted thing. So I'm pretty lenient when it comes to that. We're basically looking at art, right? It could be nice to credit the person whose painting is the original one from a crediting standpoint, but that's more etiquette. Which is still important, but not copyright. You know? So that's my thoughts. Yeah, I think it's okay. But you know, for any different use case, you'll have to re-examine the fair use and all of that, and figure out if it fits it or not. I'm talking about this very specific case, and still, I'm not a lawyer. My mom is. I'm not a lawyer though. But yeah. And my mom is hopefully I believe she's from the good kind of lawyers. She does the more, I think, lightweight stuff, not corporate and not, you know, stuff like that. Not criminal, definitely not that. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. Sunil, a tip on color swatches. Count your blues, reds, and yellows, multiply the 3 counts together. That's how many combinations. Yep, that is true. Then devote 1 page to each. It's an interesting way of doing it. I could help Sunil. And thank you, Steve, as well. Roxanne, hello. How are you? Steve, to each combination swatch. Oh, there's continuation. To each combination swatch the red, blue, and yellow, and the 3 secondary mixes, and see how dark you can get them. Yeah, that's another good thing. You want to test out the value range as well. I think, honestly, with the details, specific details, everyone has to kind of discover what works for them, but that's a great way of doing things. Hey, Arcade. Hope you're doing well. John. Beginner, very dry here. My strokes seem to make a tide mark the second I put them down. Any tips for even wash? So what you're describing, the way it sounds to me, is you need more water. That's the most important ingredient in watercolors, the water, actually. So I would say more water. make sure the washes flow better. Whenever your brush marks are very easily visible, that tells me it dries very fast, and then it's highly affected by the movement of the brush on paper, where it shouldn't be as affected by it because there's water as a medium that makes it move around. So I would say more water. Sometimes it's hard, depends on the climate, depends on where you paint, humidity, and so on. What I will do, hey Nivo, I'm from Israel. Nivo asks, here's my answer. Yep, indeed. You can see some Hebrew here. So it will depend on the climate, how humid, how moist the air is, all of that. With that said, there are a lot of tricks. So one thing you can do is use a water sprayer. Spray it on the paper before you put the paint. It will help it move, right? You can pre-wet the paper with a wet brush. But very often I see beginners just not using enough water. It's as easy as that. You just need more water. Think about it this way. If I'm holding my palette, right? There's my palette, and I'm doing this. I want the color to flow down. I don't want it to just be kind of wet. Let me show you. I can actually show you with this. So if I'm going to spray it, see, the color moves. That's what you want. You don't want it to be just a little moist, like up here, or very thick. You want it to move. You want it to really flow as you move the palette. So I will say that is the most important part. Just close it up. Just bring in more water. Sounds like you're missing the water element. I'm going to skip that, but Sunil is free to read. I hate you. Oh, sorry, Bailey. I hope Bailey's doing fine. Your video on how not to worry about the result made a huge impact on myself as well as two close friends. Oh, that's cool. One a musician and the other a tattoo artist. Your advice touches all mediums. Oh, you sent it to them? Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Yep, it really goes cross mediums. And I actually have seen a couple of comments saying that I actually have seen a comment from a musician. I don't know if it's your friend, but they said that it applies to music as well. I can actually find that comment now if you want. But yeah, it was great to hear. It was great to hear. But that may be your friend. John, oil painter Ivan Shishkin. Beautiful oak forests. Ivan Shishkin. Love that name, Shishkin. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, that's very nice. Very interesting. You know my taste. I like to see some brush marks, but that's a amazing quality, amazing photorealistic quality. I like a bit more of an impressionistic touch, though I do see some of his paintings do feel a little impressionistic. Sorry, I know you can't see, but that's cool. Indeed, Nevo, as mentioned. Mr. Rainbow, how are you doing? Hello, good morning. Thank you for being here. Hannah, hey everyone, just wanted to say I love that painting of a town in Georgia that you posted on Insta recently. Did you film the painting process? I'm curious how you did it. You know what? I believe I haven't. I believe I haven't filmed that one. Let me check and verify. I think I haven't. I think I painted it kind of crazy by myself. Yeah, I haven't filmed this one. No. I have it right here, actually. Where is it? It should be here. It should be in the pile right under me here, but yeah, I love that painting. I'm happy with how it turned out. Let me turn on the light, see if it's a little. It's starting to get a little yellow. Let's go into neutral. Starting to get a little dark outside. But yeah, the way I did it, Hannah, the thing that I did differently. Wait, let me see if I can find it for you. Not that I have to show over the painting, but it would be nice. Maybe I put it somewhere else. Sorry for the dead air. I just would like to find it. No, it's not going to be here. So where did I put it? Because I just scanned it again a few days ago. I don't know. But in any case, I did it by being very free with the opaque paint. So I used a lot of John Brilliant, which is a warmed titanium white kind of opaque paint. And I used it freely while the washes are wet, after the washes are dry. And I almost use watercolor like you would use acrylics. So I kept layering opaque paint over it. So I took that white paint, I added a bit of yellow, used that as a highlight, added a bit of red, used that as a highlight. That would be the main kind of way I approached it. Maybe I can share it on the screen right now. Let's see. I haven't used StreamYard in a while. So if I go to brand, let me add it for a second. Work folder, content, painting scans. Yeah, there we go. That's the complete one. Okay, I'm uploading it. 1 second. We'll probably slow down the stream, but that's okay. It's a big file. But I do want to show it on the screen as I talk. There we go. Okay, so yeah, this one. The way I did it mainly is to completely disregard, and you can see it, completely disregard the fact that I'm using watercolor. And so you're seeing a lot of, let's get rid of this, a lot of opaque paint, generally speaking. A lot of opaque paint everywhere for the highlights, for the different details. I used phthalo blue mostly, but a bit of French ultramarine as well. But it's just based on a lot of opaque paint, I would say. Can I do present slides? What will happen if I do that? No. Okay, never mind. I'll need to get used to this. But in any case, yeah. Being very agnostic in how much I use paint opaquely. That was great fun, actually. I enjoyed it a lot. It broke a lot of the patterns I had and a lot of the fears I had. That's a great example of how you have a question in your mind. What would happen if I paint this way? You give it a try, you experiment, so you have much better insight than anybody else. Anybody who asks questions or watches videos, they will never come close to the understanding you have after you did it yourself. And that's that. Injection for water spray. OJR, I try to make sure I keep a bead of water in my paper and spread a bead. Yeah, sometimes you'll paint flat too, and that's okay. So maybe the question didn't even relate to a big wash, just a small shape. Even in small shapes, you need more water sometimes. So yeah. Sunil, bro, when I watch your videos or other artists' videos, it seems I can do it, but actually when I try many of us fail and disappointed. What should we do at the time? The fact that you saw it doesn't mean you can do it. And that's something we all need to remember. And that happens to me too. I see something and I assume I can do it. You will be able to do it by practicing it a few times, many times, maybe, depending on how you click with the technique. Some techniques can come a little easier, some are a little harder to accomplish, especially in the beginning. But it's a weird trap of, feeling like if you've seen someone else do it, then it's easier. It's not. It's something don't develop the expectation, so you won't be disappointed, basically, is what I'm saying in this regard in particular. But yeah, disappointment is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Why would you be happy if you failed? I mean, it's okay. It's natural. But you know what you have to do after you failed? You get up and you try it again. That's what I think. Christina, hi Liron, which do you use more? Phthalo blue, green shade, or red shade? I find the green shade too cool, even when mixed with reds. Also, why did you swap Azo yellow for lemon yellow? Lemon yellow is a little more versatile. Azo yellow is stronger. It's stronger, but it's a little less of a pure yellow. It has a bit more green in it, so you're starting from the beginning from an inferior variety of colors you can mix, which is why I switched to lemon yellow. As for phthalo blue, let me open up the drawer because I don't even remember. And you know what? I have it there. It's red shade. It's red shade because I always reorder the same one from Amazon. It's usually red shade, not blue, not a green shade. And people keep telling me to avoid the red shade, and I keep making the mistake of getting the red shade. I think I do have a green shade one, but I so far have used mostly red shade. But you know, if you use the red shade, then people will tell you it's too warm, and then it doesn't mix well, and you'll have red in everything. So I think I would try both if you can. It shouldn't make that big of a difference though. So I don't know. Hopefully that answers it. And thank you so much for helping with the books. So Pito, I don't like spraying the paper because I mentioned it before, Christina. I don't like spraying the paper. I prefer using a brush for that because spraying the moisture penetrates the paper, making it damp. Unlike using a brush, the water just sits on top. Is this wrong? I actually don't know. So from what I know, it doesn't matter how you wet it. What happens is it becomes tangled as soon as you put water or paint on it. So I'm actually not sure. I think what you're saying could be true, maybe based on the type of paper. So with hot press, I find that everything, paint, water, stays on top, whereas with cold press, it absorbs a little more. That may be the case, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually. Now there is a difference with spraying and painting with a brush. Spraying, if you spray fully, then yeah, you can pre-wet completely. But usually spraying will be a little uneven. You know, there's the epicenter of where you sprayed, and outside of it, it's just going to blur it a bit. Whereas with the brush, you have more control over the exact area you pre-wet. That's definitely something to take into consideration. Christina, also, do you still suggest that for every watercolor tutorial we watch, we practice offline what we learned for 3 hours? Yes, I actually recommend that. Yeah, I think if you can spend more time painting than watching, definitely it's much better. I think intention and purpose are very important. So it's far better to, okay, think about two scenarios. One is I kind of want to improve my watercolor skill, so let me watch a few videos. Okay, that's good. There is a desire there maybe to improve the paint, but you actually did not improve your skills as much. You just watched someone else paint. Maybe you gained an insight or two, but did you actually improve your skills? Think about it this way. Forget about learning a trick or learning a technique. Did you improve your skill by watching that video? Not really. But think about the other instance. Let's say you've been practicing a lot. You've been painting a couple of times a week for a couple of hours, and you keep making the same mistake. You just cannot, for the life of you, get an even wash. Now, when you go over to YouTube, you have a fire in you. You have a purpose. You have an intention. How am I solving this particular problem? And you'll search for a solution for that particular problem. Guess what? You'll find it. And when you watch the video, you will have improved your painting skills because you'll go back to the paper and try to apply it, and you will be able to get an even wash. But would you even know to search for that had you not tried it out yourself? Painting, that is, just painting, whatever, you know? So the purpose behind watching the video is it becomes much more significant, and actually it actually comes to existence. You will have more of a purpose if you've tried it yourself before. You'll know what you're looking for, what your question is, and you'll get a better answer because you ask a better question. My 2 cents on that. That would make sense. Let's skip that. Good, thank you. Hillel says they sent me a painting and a reference. It may take a few seconds for it to show. Let me see here. I'm gonna refresh. Sometimes it takes a while for it to pull the email, but I think it should be good. I think I should get it. I'm gonna write down a note so I don't forget. I'll check it later on. And if I don't, maybe the next live stream I'll at least let you know. Okay. But it should arrive if you send it. Alex, good evening from the Philippines. How do you do watercolor bokeh effect? Is it possible without using masking fluid? Let me just make sure I know my bokeh effect. Is that the shallow depth? Yeah, shallow depth. So it depends on how bokeh you want it, right? If we're talking, lights in the background and they're big, rounded, I think you can achieve it many different ways. There's actually an artist, I forgot her name, but she's good with this stuff. Let me see, because I have her video saved to my watch later. Let me find her. Watch later. And let's see, maybe this video that I saved is relevant. Rainbow, I think, is her nickname, but I forgot her real name. So I don't think that's a bokeh per se, but okay. So I do know like the general fact. I know what you mean. Um, First off, yes, it is possible without using masking fluid. You have to be good. You have to be really good wet and wet. And of course, if you want to help yourself and make it a little easier, just checking something here. We're still good. Yeah, I don't know why the audio bugs me a little. Okay, we're good. Um, you can use masking fluid to mask those dots of light, right? Or you can use masking fluid to help you avoid your subject. Maybe it's in the middle and the background is blurry. But generally speaking, if you have good enough control, you should be able to achieve it without masking fluid. And actually, if you've seen my painting of the squid guy grandpa, um, squid game, not squid guy, squid game grandpa, which I have no idea how to find it, honestly. I don't know how to search my Instagram photos. I think there should be a way to do that, but um, I got that effect. The background looks blended, and I did it wet and wet, just without any masking fluid. Now, how to do that? Maybe I have a video on the topic. I'm actually not sure, because the way to actually do it is to get the blended look, right? So something is in the focus and the rest is blurry. The real answer to your question is to be good at wet and wet, to be good enough in wet and wet, so you can achieve a very blended wash for whatever it is that you keep outside of focus, right? There are a lot of clever ways to do it almost in one go with your focal point. So that you won't need masking fluid, but it will change based on the scene and the specific, specific properties of it, I guess. So I don't really have an overall answer for how to do it. It will vary. With that said, let me see if I have a video that shows this effect. I should have something like that. I wouldn't even know what to search, because it's something that's just present in some processes. Do I have? It's usually going to be like a still life or something like this. I'm pretty sure I have something like that. Some of the flowers probably, but I can't think of something off the top of my head. Let's see, Liron florals. But it's a good idea for a video. Maybe I'll just do a video on it. I think it's a good idea. But the way you would do this is by tricking the viewer with having your subject matter in the middle, let's say sharp, the background very wet and wet. When you do it well enough, it will create that impression. And sometimes think about the ugly stage and the in between. Like, don't give up on it, because many people I see, they think that they lost, fried the painting is not going to end up like that. Actually, if you persevere, it may end up looking like that. I've gone through at least 4 or 5 paintings where I was sure I'm messing this effect up, but I just kept going. Guess what? It had this effect when I was done. You have to postpone that disbelief or that worry. And that happened to me again multiple times. Can I turn on the light? I'll get up in a second. That happened to me many times. Also with the Squid Game painting, that happened to me as well. I thought the background wasn't clear enough. It wasn't. You take a break from the painting after it's done. Look at it the next day, and you'll be blown away. So yeah. Connie, we learn to walk by falling down, so we practice until we can run. Yep, that's true. John, another modern oil painter to check out is Jan Hendrik Dolsma. Let's see. Jan Hendrik Dolsma. Ooh, that's interesting. Lots of skies. I always have these tabs open for later, so I'll take a look later. Yeah. Oh, wait. I missed something. Super nice guy and the realist instructor, Michael James Smith. Thanks, especially for your absolute beginner help. I got it. So what was it again? Michael James Smith. Michael James Smith. Artist. I'll look it up. I think, yeah, I'm familiar with Michael James Smith. Yeah, I've seen his tutorials. Crazy, crazy good. I didn't notice 2 pages. I was terrible. I changed paper brand. Presto, first try, beautiful flat wash. Yeah, that can happen. That's a good. That always makes me happy when that kind of a thing happens. Similarly, yes, bro, we all should do more hard work practice. Yeah, and I don't think it should be hard. You know, if you're really inspired to do it, it should be just what it is. You know. I really appreciate your work. Right now, I'm watching your video and doing art. No one told me that how art starts before domain for English is wrong. No worries. Yeah, I don't know. I think most people, even within the art sphere, don't approach it in the healthiest way very often. So I'm happy I can be one of the people that do, in a way. Christina, thank you so much. So helpful. It's so easy to just watch YouTube videos, paint along while watching, but approaching tutorials with the intention of solving specific stumbling blocks. Yep, indeed. And I would say if you're painting along, that's one step better than just watching. So that's at least your Ruth is moving. So at least you're practicing, right? I love how she's like on my sweater always. So yeah, it's so interesting that in your past and I'm in your future. Oh yeah. That's how it works. Time zones. Yeah, it's 5:30 now here. Ellen Creamy Trent has some tutorials on bokeh effects. So let's see. I'm unfamiliar again. Ellen Creamy Trent. Ellen Creamy Trent. I keep finding artists I'm unfamiliar with. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Also, Emma Lefebvre. I think I know Emma Lefebvre. Let's see. I think I know her from you, maybe. Christina, right? I'm not sure. Connie, first year beginner and very slow at painting. I do, not sure what the word is, my lifting after it dries, wet paper towel. Christmas card tutorials had, what's a bussel? Or, I don't know. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Is that a fabric? Is that a cloth? Looped yarn. Wow. Okay, that has to be a challenge to paint. Yeah, textures are a challenge. So you say, yeah, the way I would actually do this is by not showing. So that's how I paint fur as well. I don't really show the texture on the object, but on the around of it. The contours of it define it. But yeah, maybe that'll work with this kind of very specific type of cloth. So I think what I can do, or maybe bokeh. Okay, maybe they meant bokeh. But I checked in bussel or whatever it is. It's type of cloth. So maybe that's the. Okay. So I think we're in a good spot. I can show you a page from the manga. Another one. So let me think what wouldn't be too big of a spoiler and something I haven't shown you before. I believe I have shown you the page with all the cars, right? So you've probably seen this one. Let me take it out of the bag because you'll be able to better see it. So I can definitely say that all of my experiences painting watercolor cars have paid off. Of course, I've been using tons of reference for this. Okay, yeah, Connie. Okay, so you did mean bokeh. Sorry about that. So yeah, it paid off. I think it looks really good. Of course, used a lot of references, traced some, but overall, yeah, that was helpful. Now, what's an interesting page to show you? Okay, this here is my favorite page. I did show it to you before inking, so it was a bit hard to see. This is probably one of my favorite pages. So to show you up close, in the car, hopefully it focuses. Then got to get off the highway. I love this panel, especially. And bam, got to get off the highway one way or another. So yeah, I really like that. You know what's cool here? I used the white gel pen to mask out the panel. So I had the line going through, and then I just put the white on it. So I basically white out it. Sorry, I know it's hard to see. To show it coming out through the panel. So that's a page I'm really happy with. Now, if you want, I can maybe show you another new page. Miss, of those cars are on point. I remember you did the tons of cars. Yes, indeed. Make your self-portrait. If I draw you, you see it right. Yeah, so actually, I did do a self-portrait of myself as Little Dicky. But yeah. Thank you so much, John. Really appreciate it. Hot Road. I think I'm a bit lazy, so I do not practice. I just paint either from something I see outside, or from the internet. Yeah, that's cool. That's totally fine. You don't have to do anything. By the way, there's a crazy beautiful sunset. Let me see if you can see it. I'm not sure because light, but you don't even have an angle to the sky. So let me show it to you here. That's a very nice sunset. Here, it's very hard to see, but it's, I think, worth it. Yeah, it's going to be impossible. I knew it because it's very light, but it's a really, really nice sunset. We have beautiful sunsets here. I don't know what it is about this place, but beautiful sunsets. I'm totally fine with that hot road. Follow your desires. If you're too lazy, that's cool. You admit it. That's the most important thing, and you just do whatever you feel like it. There's no. The one thing I don't think is possible is to make yourself do something you don't want to. As simple as that. Thank you so much, Sunil. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Miss. Thank you so much. Hey, Katarina. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Nancy. When is Ruth going to play us a song on the guitar? That's gonna be a weird song that will be played. So one time, as a joke, I took her paw and with her nails, I did this on the strings, and it was like, it was so funny. Steve, have you thought of doing watercolor painting with the page divided into energetically shaped panels like those in the manga? It's funny. Yeah, I've been experimenting with stuff like that before. I didn't really like the result, but it is something I tried once. So let me find another cool page, maybe one of the new ones. I don't want to show you one with spoilers, and that's spoiler territory. Let me just show you the face at the top of this page because I love the way it turned out, but just the top panel because the rest is a spoiler, unfortunately. So let me hide this, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. I know what I'll do. I'll just block it with another piece of paper. There we go. This dude he's angry. How you like that? Another one of my favorite panels. So yeah, I'm happy with it. So let me show you just generally what I have here. I have tons of these. Must pay bye. Have a great week. You too. Have a great. Gonna go eat dinner. Enjoy your dinner. So yeah, I have a bunch of pages here. That's all 12 of them here. And I'm almost done inking them. Here's another one I can show you. So I inked just this. So the way I do it, I'm inking the characters with a G pen. That's the more traditional pen that has a variation. It's a dip pen, has a variation in width. And for the cars and details like that, I'll use the liner pens. So sometimes I'll do all the liner details, and then after that, I'll work on the characters in more organic shapes. But I'm close. Let me see how much I have to ink, how many pages I have to ink. So 1, 2, oh my goodness. I only have 2 pages. I just realized now. I only have 2 pages to ink. I inked everything. I worked really diligently today. So just 2 more pages to ink and we're done. I thought it's 2/3. I thought I have 4. Just 2. Probably will be done with it next week and post it. So I'm happy about that. Thank you so much, Hillel. Let's see here. Do you have a favorite technique when painting? Not really. Just staring at the paint, moving on paper. That will be my favorite thing about it. Not really a favorite technique. Alex, thank you so much for answering my inquiry. And for those who put recommendations, I'll be looking forward to your bokeh tutorial. Yeah, hopefully I can do that. Not sure what that song is. I'm so bad with music. I have a very niche taste, so I like a few very specific songs and genres. And yeah. Tonex, any tips on color relativity and color harmony? Also, please do a tutorial on it. So there's actually, we talked about it before. There are a lot of good tutorials on it, so I don't feel like mine is necessary. Funny enough, I just think there's people more suited to it. To me, it's just about learning how to use my own colors, learning what colors I personally like to use and how I like to use them, more than a specific theory. But yeah, a lot of people have been asking. So maybe again, if there's any more like what's color relativity, like how saturated or unsaturated, what this color looks like that color. That's maybe a more specific question that could work for a video. A lot of people seem to like it, so I'll have it in mind. Maybe I'll do something like that. Nancy, why did you choose grays for the manga? First off, grays is easier, and I grew up kind of high school mostly reading manga, so the look stuck with me. I'm so used to it, to how economic it looks and how you can tell a story in black and white and linearly. That funny enough, as a watercolor painter, I still like that better. As a product for me to create. Now, there are some, I love when there is color in comics and web comics, but I love the black and white look and it's easier to do. So I'm going to go with that for first attempt, right? Maybe I'll do something in color in the future. I'm also considering painting just the first page, just for fun, because it looks good maybe, but I'll think about it. I may end up painting some of it. I'm not sure actually. Maybe I can publish it this way, and then do a colorful version in the future. That could happen as well. I love that you draw, upping your game on all fronts. Yeah, definitely. I definitely wanted to do that for a while. I've been addicted to a new fountain pen with blue waterman ink, and now hitting the ink with water. That's cool. That's really cool. I actually have ink here that I need to try. Thank you so much, John. I believe you sent it to me. The gray ink. Hope to do that soon. Sunil, perspective plays a very important role in sketching. You did so nicely. Yeah, indeed. You have to understand it in a way. Even when using models, you have to know how to set them up to look natural, Yeah, that's a very nice portrait here. I agree. I love that. K-pop girl group named Blackpink. Oh, I think I actually know that one. I think I popped in my YouTube one time. Because I do like K-pop once in a while. Got exam tomorrow, got a study, take care of my YouTube. And we're gonna wrap it up in like a few minutes because I need to leave, unfortunately. Sorry for starting late today. There's better tutorials than mine. Imagine using the same argument for art. I'm gonna not do art. There's better than mine out there. No, I'm confident in my tutorials. I just sometimes feel like there are topics where other people are more interested in and already made really good tutorials on it. So I'll have to study the topic before I do one. But yeah, I can definitely do that. Bro, I joined first time. Well, thank you so much for being here. Sorry that we're starting to wrap things up, but thank you so much. We usually do the same hour at 9 a.m. Eastern time every Thursday. So thank you so much for being here. And hopefully we'll catch you in the next one too. So yeah, there you have it. Can you teach drawing? Yes, I actually have a bunch of videos on the channel, so check it out. And anyone, I know there's a lot of new viewers, so welcome aboard and thank you so much. I actually have some older videos on drawing and some newer ones. I think the perspective ones are really good. I think that's where I'm pretty on point. It's something I feel very confident about. So check them out. Check these out. Just search Liron drawing, Liron perspective. You'll find everything on the channel. And I think sometimes people don't realize, like, when they just find the channel, just the sheer volume of videos there's a video on every technique, every subject almost. The bokeh one we missed, so I'll do that. But yeah, there's just about any topic covered there. So take your time to find the thing that's relevant to you and try and learn from that. Be specific in your practice. Again, I would recommend in the beginning, don't just watch for the purpose of watching, because you won't understand a lot. The more you do it yourself, the more you'll understand. If there's a message I can leave you with, it's going to be that one. Thank you so much, John. Thank you for always being here and for your support. Much, much appreciated. Thank you, Hot Road. Thank you, everyone. We're going to wrap it up for today. I will see you in the next one. Will be critiques. Send them over. If I don't do them next time, I will do them in the next round. And thank you so much for your patience with this, because I know some people have been waiting for a long time for their painting to be critiqued. Much, much appreciate your patience as well. And sorry that it took so long. If that's the case for you. Great session. Thank you so much, Steve. First time followed properly with one eye on the video and another on the chat. It is a different experience indeed. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Must Paint, for being here. Thank you, Miss. Yeah, definitely. You need to search this channel to find them. Yep, indeed. So I will see you next time. Until then, take care.